Robin Multi, thanks very much for joining us today. Really appreciate you sharing some time with us here at Reuters Event Supply Chain Europe. Um, I suppose on this topic of cloud computing, I think it's let's start quite big and maybe we can focus in a bit more. Robin, why should supply chain businesses be looking more at cloud computing now?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think the answer is digital disruption. I think digital disruption is impacting all industries, and I think global supply chain across industries is not immune to it. I think the global pandemic that we're still very much in has impacted that, and we've seen evidence of that. With the chip shortage around the world, I think it's a direct result of that. But then I think with global supply chain, I think there are other sporadic events that impact it. The blockage in the Suez Canal. And just this morning, I was reading on the paper on the way in that there's been a cyber attack on the, I think it's Colonial petrol, diesel, jet fuel distribution facility in North America, and it's impacting delivery of all of those things onto the East Coast. So that's something else. It's cyber, but it's kind of all related to things that impact the supply chain. I think what that drives is that you need to have a well-informed global supply chain. You've got to be able to manage risk in global supply chain, and I think cloud's a great enabler of that. Cloud offers lots of benefits. It's flexible. It allows easy integration of partners, easy integration of technologies. It gives you visibility and control. And there are cost benefits. There are cost benefits in terms of mounting your systems and your applications in a globally consistent way, and a global cloud platform with some significant cost benefits. So I think cloud and some of the associated technologies that we want to talk about today, have an impact in allowing you to unlock that value that the cloud brings. So not just cloud, but IoT, 5G, software-defined networking, edge, security, SASE, edge computing. Blockchain, the ability to analyze, vast amounts of data. All of those things can unlock the value of cloud for the benefit of global supply chain. I think fundamentally, though, the thing you need to underpin all of that is that a highly robust, highly interconnected cloud network is kind of the key fundamental for doing that. I think, and our final point before I hand over to Motia is that I think those are all compelling reasons why you need to move to cloud, all industries and global supply chain as well. But I think there's now common acceptance that there's competitive advantage by moving into these technologies as well, and competitive disadvantage if you don't. So I think it's just an imperative now that most companies are looking at it. Most companies already moved in some way, but everyone realizes that they've got to move into those technologies.
Yes, just like to add, thanks, Robin. I mean, many supply chain businesses that have moved their operations onto the cloud have seen greater efficiency in their operations and seen clearer picture of what's happening within their business. So this is highlighted in 4 points. So for one, better collection of data. So removing from siloed, unconnected systems. So with cloud data, everything is much more easier to connect. Okay. Number two, technology has rapidly improved to analyze larger data. This has happened, quite recently. Technology has improved so much that large amounts of data sets with tools that are allowed for real-time reports, for example, and they can do that very quickly. And number three, infrastructure capabilities globally for cloud continues to grow, with public cloud providers building more, and expanding their data centers, if you like, and interconnection between those data centers is something that we obviously provide as well. And number four, with software as a service on cloud has meant that businesses are run as an OPEX rather than a CAPEX model. So what that means is flexible application utilization, billing model, as well as subscription-based per staff pricing models are very attractive. And obviously with this, you don't need to worry about hardware investment or maintenance. Yeah. So those are the 4 key points I'd say, the benefits that the supply chains have seen.
Sure, and I mean, the benefits are very, very clear from what you've laid out there. But what are you seeing as the most common supply chain challenges that keep coming up when implementing a cloud infrastructure and technology? What is it that stands in the way of those benefits potentially being realized?
I think, at a high level, it's just the complexity and the multiplicity of different systems and packages in the global supply chain environment, particularly on a global basis, the hundreds, thousands of suppliers and siloed systems. So I think that's a massive inhibitor to do anything in a big bang way. So what it leads to is, very much a phased approach. And planning, you've got to have the right partners throughout, I think, but to help you planning as well. It's all about, moving the right workloads at the right time, migrating data at the right time, because there's so much, legacy siloed data out there, and thinking about what the end result of those moves are as well. So I think the other key thing is not doing it for technology's sake. It's about looking at it from a business benefits perspective. And then always measuring your success as you move this stuff from, what value has it brought, and measuring it against those initial targets you've got from business value. So I think it's all about having the right partner to help you through those different stages from, initial planning, design, all the way through to implementation. And China Telecom, we've got lots of experience of working with our clients to help them navigate, through that complexity.
Yes, I was just going to touch on that actually. So China Telecom has got a lot of experience in this. So in terms of cloud migration, service should include its site investigation, consultation, design, migration plan, proof of concept, pilot, and then formal migration. So recently we have consulted with many customers to ensure that they use, for example, the specific supply chain software that they use must also be used by their suppliers and partners. Otherwise, they will not be able to collaborate. So generally, China Telecom provides a proof of concept to test out the different features. Then in phase 2, a pilot phase to deploy a new system, such as setting up monitoring tools or virtual firewall or inventory systems. Some of these may require staff training, which we can do that as well. So and then once upon successful, it's been tested and deployed, then progress on to the full rollout phase. So China Telecom, again, we have essential tools like assessment and capacity planning tools to ensure that the migration is managed at each stage. And this is really to ensure that we work very closely with the customer in terms of meeting their rollout plan. If there's any strategic sites or applications need rollout quicker, we work with them to do that. There are many other factors. I mean, there are many factors to consider, not least of which the ability of underlying network to support speed, scale of the data collection and processing what is required. So particularly in a global or multi-regional supply chain system, we have an example of a German client, for example, they experience much higher latency and packet loss when compared to traditional MPLS WAN technology. And this is across Asia Pacific to Europe. So, and this compromises their system efficiency. So by deploying our SD-WAN service, for example, we have provided, them with multi-cloud platform access, okay? And then we were able to reduce the overall latency and provide the client with much useful monitoring tools to ensure optimal route and utilization is maintained. And, the whole experience is is fantastic for the client, because they have a tool that they can see in real time how the services are running. We work with many clients like this to accelerate the performance of network from individual sites to multi-cloud applications. And China Telecom also provides SaaS acceleration services that use SD-WAN in combination with our low latency network to accelerate users' traffic to certain software platforms such as Office 365, even from within China. Yeah.
And we mentioned obviously a number of different technologies, Robin, at the top of the call. Which technologies or cloud technologies rather are you seeing having the biggest impact on supply chain operations at the moment?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think all of those technologies I mentioned up front, I think they've all got a role to play, and they've all got a part to play. And the obvious ones, like moving workloads and data into the cloud to give you that scalability, access to scale, and so on, is of great value. The one I want to focus in on is IoT and 5G. I think that's going to bring immense value, and we're seeing some of that already with our clients. China's well advanced with its 5G rollout domestically, And so we have a lot of clients in that space where we're seeing this already. But I think, you know, from an end-to-end supply chain perspective, you know, having access to near real-time or real-time data that lets you, you know, respond really quickly in an intelligent way to what's happening throughout that supply chain, but also giving you access to the volume of data that lets you make, you know, really intelligent, long-term, more strategic type planning decisions as well. You know, I think IoT and 5G is going to unlock that for organizations. And again, it goes without saying, I know I keep hopping back to this one, but, you know, reliable, low latency networking underpinning all that is really critical. But as I say, I think IoT and 5G are already having an impact and are going to have an, you know, increasing impact over the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, just to add on that, you know, SaaS applications, cloud acceleration is that, you know, that's what we offer our customers to and from China and Asia Pac. Is something our supply chain customers have valued. For example, it has meant that one of our large European multinational fast fashion retailers are able to communicate and oversee their overseas operations more effectively and make decisions more or less in real time. So as a business, you know, we've also seen many IoT projects that use cloud tech and have delivered great results for our clients who are working to transform their business, such as tracking of luxury bottled beverages that ensures its authenticity to the end customer and then eliminates any questions around where the bottles are ending up in the market. There's also been a greater use of IoT projects involving robotics and telemetry. So, you know, by integrating big data, cloud computing, and innovating manufacturing technology, it is possible to change the existing production mode into a more leaner and intelligent production mode. So this will improve the qualities levels, and change the manufacturing cycles, and thus reducing the manufacturing cost.
And are there differences or comparisons to be made in terms of cloud implementation from, let's say, in China, APAC, but then also in Western markets, Europe, the States, etc.? What are the comparisons there to be made?
Yeah, I think the fundamentals are all the same. It's all about stuff we've just been talking about, you know, making sure it's business-led, making sure it's pragmatic approach and so on, understanding, you know, where you're going to get value and then, you know, really focusing on delivering to realize that value in a very segmented way. And so it's the same, but I think there are some differences as well. I think there's a lot more added complexity in Asia Pac and China. You know, it's not a homogeneous environment like, say, Europe or the States. You know, there are, you know, nuances, regulatory nuances, you know, technical differences, you know, just cultural language, things like that. It's a fairly complex place, and I think what's critical in that APAC China space is really working with local partners that really understand those markets and can really help you to navigate that complexity in those markets.
Yeah, brilliant. Just to add on that, you know, China Telecom has experienced staff that can provide, you know, this full migration, design, consultancy, and delivery of cloud implementation to not just China, but Asia Pac or other regions as well. So, however, you know, I think a key difference in the added complexity of China and APAC environment is you know, it's less homogeneous environment compared to, say, Europe. Also the nuanced regulatory element which you need to consider. Okay, so again, it pays to work with regional providers that, you know, has that local expertise and can navigate customers away from complex issues. Another area that we find different in China APAC region is the availability and adoption of 5G. So this is very much a work in progress in Western markets. However, in places like China, 5G is a reality and has amplified the capabilities of many cloud projects because of the faster speeds and the greater bandwidths. So, you know, and there's already even discussion around 6G. So, you know, in this sector, you know, China's streaming ahead.
And I suppose as we've talked about how this accelerated the opportunity that's then there for people, but unfortunately things don't happen overnight, of course, and companies are at different stages of their transformations and obviously implementations with cloud. Is there sort of a hybrid way that companies can exist for an interim period of time that potentially works in terms of a model format that you operate within?
Yeah, definitely. Again, as we've discussed, I think it's really, almost always more prudent to take a step-by-step approach. I think, again, when you look at global supply chain, the cost and complexity, it's not always practical to move everything, particularly if you look, take into consideration, partners and distributors and so on. That whole ecosystem in a global supply chain model, even if you can afford to manage it and you have the skills available to manage that kind of approach, it's not necessarily, good judgment to rely on all of your partners to be able to do the same thing. They may not have the same technical skills or the same financial capability to do that. So a hybrid approach is frequently the right way. So a mixture of legacy on-premise systems, of private cloud, and of public cloud. And again, we have an awful lot of experience in working with our clients to navigate that journey and help them on that journey.
Yeah, I just want to pick up on that. One of the case studies, we have an example of a global retail brand. They wanted a highly resilient connectivity to Microsoft Azure. So China Telecom provided this was in mainland China, connecting its hub sites in Hong Kong. What they did is it allows the customer to keep some of the applications at the hub site and some accessible via Microsoft platform for its users in China. Again, that's a simple example, but hybrid cloud does give a bit of flexibility to adapt differences in connectivity options and regional laws around data sovereignty. Besides this, it's not just a case of businesses being on the cloud, but also the network of the supplier that you use. I mean, that is very important because it's really you need to ensure that the cloud tech communicates with the same platform as what you are with your suppliers and your partners. So it's very key.
It's a very big topic, and I don't think 15 minutes ever is going to do it justice. So maybe one final question from myself to both of you. We can start with Robin in terms of just a final takeaway you'd want from the audience in terms of this topic as a whole, and potentially where China Telecom sit within that conversation.
Yeah, sure. So I think everyone knows that we're one of the dominant providers in China and tremendous capabilities across Asia Pacific, and we've got lots of experience across all industries, but specifically in global supply chain in Asia Pac. But I think one of the best kept secrets is actually we're a global business. We're a global service provider as well. We've got a really significant presence in Europe. We're present in 21 countries in Europe. We're headquartered here in London. I'm in the office today. And we've got very significant offices in Frankfurt and Paris and Moscow. So, we can bring a really great global rep to European MNCs that are looking to, get help and support. And as I said, that local expertise in the APAC space. We've got an awful lot of resources here in Europe, to help clients on that journey, as I say.
Perfect.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to say, feel free to download the report and other materials on our company in China Telecom profile, which is on the event platform.
Absolutely, definitely a topic worth finding out more and seeing where it goes in the very hopefully short-term future. Robin, Moti, thank you very much for your time today. Greatly appreciate you sharing your thoughts, and hopefully we'll see a lot of progress in the years to come. Thanks again.
Thanks, Paddy.
Thank you.